struggling with your pistol squat, feeling stuck, falling back, or just not getting to that depth, in today's class, I'm going to guide you through 5 tests in our deep squat so we can figure out what is holding you back, identify your weak points so you can train smarter and more efficiently. And the props we're going to utilize today are bands. Ideally, if you have a thicker and thinner band, so you can figure out which one is best for your level, and a bench or a box, or if you're at home, you can also do a chair. If you want to make some of the drills more challenging, it's optional to add a weight. Another prop that is super useful is to use a slant board for some of the mobility that we're going to be doing. But if you do not have a slant board or access to one, you can also use a rolled up towel, a plate if you're at the gym, or even just a yoga block. The first test we're going to go over is ankle mobility. You're going to drop into a deep squat and see if you can keep your heel pressed into the ground. If your heel leaves the ground as your knee travels over your toes, or you feel stuck going into your squat, then you're likely limited in your ankle dorsiflexion. So you need to work on ankle mobility and calf stretches. One of my favorite ankle stretches, we're going to take our box and attach our band low, stepping through and your foot up onto the bench. You're going to bring this band low on your talus bone. We do not want it up on your tibia, your shin bone. We need to make sure that it's anchored low, and using your other hand to keep that band in place. You're going to then use this other hand to drive your knee over your toes, and you want to think about your knee just tracking forward, letting the band do the posterior distraction back and gently leaning forward and back. You can make this as difficult as you want. You can even take this back knee and stretch it back. You're imagining that you're trying to get as much of your hamstring touching your calf muscle as much as possible as you drive your knee forward over your toes. Another addition to this stretch that I really like to do is to do this barefoot and intentionally spread your toes and press your toes into the ground, making that connection, get an extra stretch through especially your big toe. The next 2 movements are going to be about strengthening the calves and your ankles in dorsiflexion. So if you have the slant board, step to the slant board, and it's nice to get a little forward lean to get a nice stretch. And then we're doing calf raises up and down. And again, it's nice to elevate your toes so we can get that full stretch, even lean forward and press out. So we're not just working the passive mobility, but we're also working the strength within that range of motion. After you finish your reps there, you can also turn around, hinging, sitting back towards the wall, and pulling your toes up off the floor to strengthen your ankles in that dorsiflexion. Test number 2, hip flexion strength. Going into our deep squat, you're going to attempt to lift one leg off the floor. If that leg will not lift, or if your torso collapses when you lift, that is a hip flexion strength issue. To strengthen that hip flexor in the end range of motion that we need for the pistol squats, we're going to use the weight, block, anything for a hurdle, because it's nice to have a goal. And ideally, you're trying to be able to pull your knee into your chest as you lift this opposite leg over the hurdle. But this mobility can be quite difficult for a lot of people. So the option that you can do is scooch back for your hands as support behind you so you open up this hip and reduce the mobility needed. From there, you can continue to do these hurdles, gradually inching your hands closer and closer, driving your chest open to challenge your range of motion. If this is very difficult for you, you can also do it standing. Using a bench where you can mark your height, you're going to lift your leg off the bench and down. Gradually stacking up weights, mats, whatever you can do, so you eventually lift higher and higher and higher, marking your progress. The next drill to strengthen our hip flexor strength and deepen our psoas is going to be the psoas sit-up. you're using the rig or wall to press your foot into. And I have this bench angled so that I'm half sitting on it, so this extending leg can be off the bench. But it is nice to slightly angle the bench, so as you pull your knee into your chest and you extend all the way back, your back can rest on the bench. Then you're pressing your foot into the rig to curl back up. Do this very slow and intentional so we can really engage the hip flexor and deep into the psoas muscle. Slow, extend, pulling this knee into your chest as you slowly extend back and curl back through. Test number 3, focus on balance, stability, and quad strength. Going into our deep squat, you're going to shift all of your weight into one leg and you're going to try to be light on the floor or maybe lift this foot off out to the side. And if you are unable to stay in this position and you fall over, then balance, stability, or quad strength could be your weak points. To strengthen and engage through our quads, we're going to use a band attached about knee height, stepping through the band, bringing it up behind your knees, and you're stepping about hip distance apart and dropping down into a squat. The band pulling you forward is going to help engage and strengthen your quads. We call this movement the Spanish squat. Moving on to the next exercise to build the knee stability and balance. You're going to use our bench behind us, and we're focused on hinging the hips back as you step the opposite foot out in front of you, just lightly on your toes. Then again, we're sitting back, hinging at the hips to sit back to our bench. This foot can just be lightly on the floor as you reach forward, as if you're reaching for something in front of you to get that forward momentum and rock up. The next progression from this is to keep this foot off the ground. So you reach forward again, coming up. To make this movement slightly more difficult and or sometimes using a lighter weight, this can actually make it feel easier, is having a weight out in front of you. Lifting that leg and using that weight as a counterbalance to help get you up and off the bench. And test number 4, our hamstring mobility and core control. Going into our deep squat again, you're going to shift and lean onto the bench for support and try to extend the opposite leg. If you are unable to get your leg straight, or if your pelvis tucks under, or maybe you even fall back, then tight hamstrings could be your limiting factor. Targeting our hamstring mobility, you're going to grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell, heavy enough that it can help pull you lower, but light enough that you can easily control it. Dropping it, letting gravity do the work for you. You're going to focus on rounding your spine, round, 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 and continue to stretch and reach forward, ideally even past the bench. But make a marker of how far you go, and each time you go down, you're going to try to get a little bit further and further down. For the next movement, we're going to do single leg deadlifts. These are great to strengthen your glute maximus, which will play a big part in your pistol squats. They also help strengthen the glute medius, which helps stabilize your hips, along with your core and your whole posterior chain. Using a very thick band attached high, the thicker the band, the better. We're going to go into our psoas pull down or reverse squats. Looping it around your wrists, squatting down, pulling against the band, using your core and your hip flexion, trying to get your hips and bum as close to the ground as possible as you continue to pull the band down. For this movement, we're going to do a hold. You're holding for at least 10 to 20 seconds as you pull down and compress the core. Test number 5, your glute strength. Going into our deep squat again, shifting your weight into one leg so this opposite foot is very light, and you're going to try to drive up. If you can only get up a few inches and you cannot make that initiation through the glute, especially the glute max and the glute medius, then most likely you need to strengthen your glutes. Grabbing your dumbbell, for this one you want to go as heavy as you possibly can. Stepping your back foot up for our Bulgarian split squats. This is a great movement to strengthen the unilateral glute medius and glute max strength. When you get to the depth in the bottom of this movement, you can even slightly shift towards your working leg to lengthen the glute and target them even more. And the final element, single leg glute hip thrust, targeting that glute max even into your hamstring. For this movement, you want to think about going as heavy as possible. So what did you find? Was it your ankle, hip, maybe your balance? Remember, the pistol squat is a puzzle, and once you understand what your missing piece is, you're able to train way more effectively. If you want the full program to take with you to the gym, you can try it out now for free in my training app, link below. And please remember to like, subscribe, and comment what movement or maybe what exercise or test was the most challenging for you, and we'll see you next time.